Did Senator John Kennedy really shatter Adam Schiff's entire political career on live television with nothing but an old leather briefcase? You are about to witness a masterclass in political destruction that silenced a studio audience and left a prominent senator completely speechless. The scene unfolded on a chilly Tuesday morning at precisely 1000 Eastern Time. Located within the ABC studios on West 66th Street in central Manhattan. 3 cutting-edge cameras moved quietly along a rounded track, circling the iconic curved desk of daytime TV's most famous talk program, The View. The audience area was completely filled with 300 female spectators. These individuals were mostly Manhattan locals, heavily progressive in their ideological views, and devoted followers who waited in the icy morning weather on Columbus Avenue simply to get seats for this exact broadcast. They absolutely would not have traveled across town so early for a regular visitor. Positioned at the clear center of the desk sat Whoopi Goldberg, aged 69, wearing her hair tied back with her iconic eyeglasses dangling loosely from a string around her throat. On her direct left was Joy Behar, a co-host who had dedicated 28 years on this exact broadcast stage, making humorous jabs at Republican lawmakers she possibly could not accurately recognize in a suspect lineup. On Whoopi's right sat Sunny Hostin, an ex-federal attorney and the only person at that rounded desk who held genuine background in questioning an antagonistic testifier in an actual legal courtroom. Next to Sunny was Sarah Haynes, the appointed ideological centrist, whom the broadcast channel purposefully retained on the team to preserve an illusion of viewer neutrality. Located to Whoopi's right as the main visitor was Senator Adam Schiff. At 65 years of age, he appeared flawless in an expertly fitted dark gray 3-piece suit matched with a pale blue silk necktie. Sitting on the desk next to his water bottle was a premium Mont Blanc pen, a costly writing tool he had loyally used for 23 years. Arranged tidily ahead of him, flawlessly positioned for the camera's promotional frame, sat 3 editions of his freshly published autobiography, proudly named Lessons from the Brink, A Life in the Defense of Democracy. Immediately to Schiff's right rested Senator John Kennedy. Being 74 years of age, Kennedy sported a visibly worn dark suit that had been stuffed into the overhead luggage compartment during a 5:30 a.m. Delta flight from New Orleans to LaGuardia that morning. He looked out from modest wireframe spectacles and sported a tie that his spouse had carefully chosen for him the previous evening. Yet the most crucial object in Kennedy's grasp was a damaged, aged leather satchel. It was the identical battered bag he had brought to numerous Senate panel meetings since the Obama era, and he positioned it firmly hidden between his feet, exactly where the low-angle broadcast cameras would unavoidably capture it. Whoopi Goldberg began the broadcast portion with the enthusiastic friendliness that an experienced presenter keeps. Solely for visitors she is completely sure will deliver thoroughly captivating programming. She greeted both lawmakers to the broadcast, declaring that the subject of the morning was responsibility within Washington. Focusing her gaze on Schiff, Whoopi mentioned that his recent publication was quickly rising on the top-selling lists and asked him to describe why he felt driven to author it. Schiff provided a refined grin. He effortlessly grabbed an edition of his autobiography, lifting it high so the broadcast lenses could flawlessly capture the front. He expressed gratitude to Whoopi and started his rehearsed speech, stating that he authored the text because America had reached a perilous crossroads. He claimed with extreme certainty that the country was presently confronting a current, dynamic fascist faction, not just a hypothetical upcoming danger. Schiff bravely declared that Donald Trump acted as the Mussolini of Mar-a-Lago, blaming the past president for completely seizing control of the Republican Party. He additionally claimed that Trump had armed the Justice Department against his ideological rivals, sent the National Guard to confront harmless American youths at the boundary, and cleanse the intelligence sector of all truthful experts, merely to substitute them with unquestioning followers. Schiff finished his intense summary by remarking that citizens were observing the live collapse of their nation. The liberal studio crowd passionately applauded in approval. Schiff held the fluid, measured pacing of an experienced lawmaker who had delivered these precise phrases on 40 distinct broadcast stages throughout the previous 18 months. He let the cheering quiet down organically before proceeding. He characterized his publication as the ultimate account of how his faction resisted dictatorship, outlining the initial impeachment, the comprehensive Russia probe, and the relentless protection of democratic systems against a facilitator of oppression. Next, Schiff committed a major strategic mistake. He rotated gradually in his seat. He entirely disregarded Kennedy, declining to even glance at him, and instead spoke to Whoopi directly. Discussing facilitators, Schiff remarked he desired to be completely truthful with the crowd. He admitted that he was sincerely, deeply shocked that the broadcast channel deemed it fitting to put him on the very same platform as the man resting to his right side. Whoopi Goldberg lifted her brows in absolute shock. The whole studio crowd literally leaned forward, detecting the rising tension. Schiff maintained his spoken attack, labeling Senator Kennedy as an antique from a variation of Louisiana that plainly did not exist anymore in the year 2026. He blamed Kennedy for faking a rustic Southern dialect that served as, at maximum, a dramatic prop. Schiff asserted that Kennedy pretended to be a humble rural attorney who had mistakenly wandered into the U.S. Senate, whereas in truth Kennedy was an extensively schooled alumnus of both Vanderbilt and Oxford universities. Schiff claimed that Kennedy had utilized his whole legislative background, weaponizing this facade of rustic cluelessness to promote the most radical, hazardous stances of the Republican faction. Joy Behar forcefully aimed a digit at Kennedy and vocally concurred, "That's right." A pair of women sitting in the starting row of the crowd released noisy shouts of backing. Schiff, encouraged by the response, forcefully listed off a series of charges. He asserted Kennedy had called for the charging of educators, supported the removal of at-risk youths, opposed every major environmental warming policy throughout the last 10 years, and tried to slash Medicaid backing on 4 distinct instances. Schiff handed down his final judgment. Kennedy served in all significant ways as an eager facilitator of the authoritarianism that Donald Trump embodied. Schiff proclaimed that Kennedy was positioned on the incorrect end of history, and that once the historical records were ultimately compiled, the nation would recall him in that manner. Ultimately shifting his stare to peer straight at Kennedy, Schiff dealt a patronizing strike. He declared that, with complete respect, Kennedy ought to be profoundly ashamed to occupy a platform alongside him. He highlighted a sharp difference separating the citizens of Louisiana who dispatched Kennedy to D.C. and the citizens of California who dispatched Schiff, asserting they functioned as completely distinct nations that would not be recalled in an identical manner. The broadcast crowd exploded into disorganized clapping and shouting. Whoopi Goldberg allowed the volatile outburst to continue for 10 complete seconds prior to lifting a palm to silence the space. She next pivoted to the silent gentleman on her right and gave him the stage. "Senator Kennedy, your reaction?" Kennedy peacefully fixed his wire-frame spectacles using one digit. He did not instantly glance at Schiff, rather, he focused his gaze entirely on Whoopi as he talked. His tone was noticeably soft, his rhythm unusually sluggish, and his Louisiana accent unmistakably heavy. "Mom, I value the greeting," Kennedy initiated. He stopped for a second. "Senator Schiff over yonder makes me think of a gator I possessed previously. Huge chatterbox, straight until the second I began tallying his fangs." The whole room dropped into an instant, shocked quiet for a single moment. Next, one unintended chuckle slipped from the rear seating. This was rapidly succeeded by a wave of chuckling in the center seats, until roughly 30 individuals were publicly laughing. Whoopi Goldberg's expression performed a movement it had not genuinely executed on broadcast in 3 years. It cracked into an entirely authentic, very shocked grin. With intentional sluggishness, Kennedy extended low between his feet and lifted his weighty, battered leather satchel onto his thighs. He admitted to Whoopi that Senator Schiff held a fresh publication to vent a grind. He admired this because he authored texts himself every few years, yet Kennedy proposed that prior to them debating the autobiography, they required to hold a grave dialogue regarding the obvious truths the printer had handily omitted from the rear sleeve. Kennedy placed the weighty satchel directly onto the rounded timber desk. The old material produced a flat, commanding boom against the timber. He undid the clasps. Snap. Snap. The dual metallic noises rang brightly inside the silent room that had recently rebounded from chuckling. "Let us discuss Senator Schiff's residences," Kennedy declared fluidly. Immediately, Schiff's assured grin disappeared. The costly Mont Blanc writing tool sitting between his thumb and pointer finger anxiously knocked twofold upon the shiny desk. Kennedy skipped the subject regarding the residences for a second, extracting a dense azure file. The formal emblem upon the cover clearly stated, "Transcripts, Public Television Archive, 2017 to 2020. Kennedy placed the binder flat upon the rounded desk, intentionally keeping it shut. He allowed it to rest there, soaking in the quiet for 3 torturous seconds. Speaking to Schiff straightforwardly, Kennedy declared that from January of 2017 to April of 2020, Schiff had shown up on domestic broadcasts roughly 247 times, purposely to debate the Russia probe. Kennedy specified that this shocking figure did not additionally feature audio discussions or digital shows, it was exclusively broadcast viewings. He next flipped the Azure file open. Kennedy disclosed that in roughly 53 of those heavily promoted viewings, Schiff had clearly declared in some manner or another that he had individually viewed clear proof of conspiracy linking the Donald Trump operation and the Russian state. Kennedy started extracting the formal records. Initially, he referenced a 20th of March 2017 showing on Meet the Press, wherein Chuck Todd bluntly inquired whether Schiff possessed proof past the indirect. Kennedy recited Schiff's precise statement, "There is evidence that is not circumstantial, and it's very much worthy of investigation." Following this, Kennedy extracted a document from the 17th of December, 2017, alongside CNN's Jake Tapper, citing Schiff asserting to hold the most palpable evidence of collusion. Next, a 22nd of March 2018 conversation on MSNBC alongside Rachel Maddow, wherein Schiff declared, "We have direct evidence that I cannot disclose at this time." Kennedy allowed 3 additional records to drop upon the expanding stack without once speaking them out loud. He glanced toward Schiff and cautioned him that he utilized the term evidence regarding Russian conspiracy 53 times throughout 3 extensive years during nationwide programs. Kennedy stressed the weight of this lie. Schiff delivered these assertions whilst acting as the lead Democrat within the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. This authoritative role gave Schiff sole entry to intensely restricted data that no separate representative of Congress might view. The national citizens viewed Schiff upon their displays and naturally believed him, since he promised he had viewed the absolute verification. Putting the documents away, Kennedy shifted toward the final ending regarding that story. He mentioned the April 2019 ultimate document published by Special Counsel Robert Mueller, an honored Marine battle survivor from Vietnam and a conservative FBI chief initially selected via George W. Bush. Kennedy carefully detailed the massive scale of Mueller's inquiry, a 448-page document. 2.5 years of unstoppable digging, $40 million utilized, 45 devoted FBI investigators, 3,000 summons distributed, and 500 testifiers questioned. Out of the Azure file, Kennedy pulled Mueller's absolute finding sheet and spoke it loudly. The investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government in its election interference activities. The room remained frighteningly silent. Kennedy shifted forward, detailing that the wording did not establish stands as the exact judicial jargon used by national attorneys. Once they have thoroughly analyzed every present proof and decisively concluded that literally zero offense could be indicted, it stands as the firmest, most absolute denying result an attorney could conceivably declare. Schiff parted his lips, trying to construct a justification. However, Kennedy quickly lifted one digit to halt him. "Now wait up, Senator. I am not finished," Kennedy cautioned. Kennedy leaped ahead 4 years toward May of 2023, citing the review from special counsel John Durham, an additional lifelong national attorney and conservative who examined the exact beginnings of the Russia inquiry, which Schiff had justified 53 times upon television. Kennedy recited Durham's destructive finding. The Crossfire Hurricane investigation was opened on raw, unanalyzed, and uncorroborated intelligence. He recited an additional citation. The FBI failed to uphold its mission of strict fidelity to the law. Kennedy allowed the heaviness regarding those phrases to linger within the space. He cautioned Schiff that, being a representative on the House Intelligence Panel, Schiff held complete entry into that very identical intel. Schiff had reviewed the Crossfire Hurricane dossier. Schiff had examined the notorious Steele dossier, which an inside FBI audit subsequently verified held unconfirmed data. Kennedy blamed Schiff for realizing completely clear that the basis for the whole probe was basic and unverified, but purposefully appearing upon broadcasts 53 times to untruthfully convince the U.S. populace that the basis was incredibly sturdy. Schiff stuttered, trying to debate that the Mueller review actually recorded multiple suspicious connections linking Russians and the Trump operation, demanding that the document did not formally clear anybody. Kennedy silenced him perfectly. He repeated that did not establish represented Robert Mueller's personal, intentionally selected terms following 2.5 years of hunting for an indictable offense and unsuccessful in locating anything. Kennedy next provided a devastating numerical strike. He observed that after the Mueller review got printed during April 2019, Schiff had shown up upon nationwide television roughly 186 additional instances to debate the Russia issue. During precisely none of these 186 showings did Schiff once speak the phrase, "I was wrong about the evidence." None. Schiff was currently anxiously spinning the top off his Mont Blanc pen. Off, on, off, on. Kennedy dug inside the file for a concluding piece of parchment. He desired to discuss a particular broadcast figure who formerly acted as Schiff's companion. The individual who had featured Schiff upon his broadcast 41 instances from 2017 until 2020. This acted as a person who never once questioned Schiff's proof, a guy who enthusiastically aligned with all crazy hypotheses Schiff presented. Kennedy questioned Schiff whether he recognized whom he was speaking about. Schiff softly guessed Kennedy intended Jake Tapper from CNN. Kennedy verified this. Jake Tapper, the anchor for The Lead, the individual progressives believed to be harsher against Donald Trump compared to anyone aside on television. Kennedy recited off the concluding page. He declared that upon the 17th of May 2023, just 6 days following the Durham Review being released upon the populace, Jake Tapper rested in the precise identical seat wherein he had formerly featured Schiff 41 instances, peered straight at the lens, and proclaimed, "The Durham Report is devastating for the FBI." Kennedy placed the document away with certainty. He stared toward Schiff fiercely above the borders of his spectacles. "Senator, once Jake Tapper states you were incorrect, the nation has ceased playing make-believe." Sonny Hostin, the previous national attorney, truly flinched from bodily unease. The lenses flawlessly captured her response. She had individually shown upon Jake Tapper's broadcast 17 instances. Joy Behar gazed quietly toward the stage ground. The premium Mont Blanc pen unexpectedly slipped from Schiff's perspiring hold, although he incredibly succeeded to grab it prior to it falling from the desk. Shifting with systematic accuracy, Kennedy grabbed within his satchel for the tertiary file. This binder showed emerald. The formal emblem upon the front sleeve stated, U.S. House of Representatives Resolution 437, censuring Adam B. Schiff. Kennedy redirected the attention away from legislative speech towards solid economic truth. He declared that the Mueller probe had charged the U.S. citizen precisely $32 million, an entirely unquestioned mutual amount formally referenced within the exact reprimand motion enacted upon Schiff during the 21st of June 2023. Kennedy extracted the formal expense breakdown. He voiced a wish to convert this $32 million into concepts that the regular people viewing the morning broadcast might truly grasp and comprehend. Placing the record down, Kennedy gazed intensely toward the broadcast crowd. He referenced a poll released yearly from the Federal Reserve Bank concerning U.S. domestic money. The highly current document, published merely 2 months before, showed a frightening number: 63% of U.S. homes cannot manage a basic $400 crisis cost. Kennedy stressed the smallness concerning the sum, not a $4,000 catastrophe, just a $400 bother. A busted wheel, a ruined cooler, an unexpected visit toward the tooth doctor. Kennedy grabbed inside his chest pouch and revealed a tiny, damaged antique adding machine. It was precisely the type of inexpensive, dependable counter a traditional rural attorney holds, since he declines to rely on a mobile phone to calculate math whilst during live broadcast. He vocalized his computing entirely aloud. $32 million, separated by $400 per chunk matches. He theatrically pressed the actual keys and lifted the electronic screen high so the lenses might record. Kennedy intensely detailed what this figure represented: 80,000 U.S. laboring households. This represented exactly how many $400 crises might have been survived and fixed using the precise quantity of cash the Mueller inquiry had wasted altogether. 80,000 moms who might have simply swapped a cooler that unexpectedly failed during the boiling warmth during August. 80,000 dads who might have repaired their hauling vehicles. Therefore, they might dependably travel toward the work location upon a Monday dawn. 80,000 panicked hospital ward trips that might not have finished with destructive debt warnings. Kennedy placed the antique counter away onto the desk. He cautioned the silent room that these 80,000 laboring households actually funded for this $32 million probe directly out from their laboriously gained wages. It originated from their revenue filings. It was financed from the precise currency that could not be spent to purchase fresh academy garments for their expanding youths during August. Schiff rushed to justify his actions. He debated feebly that the probe acted completely separate and that he individually did not dictate the monetary spending. Kennedy shot back immediately. He admitted that Schiff did not pen the payments. However, he aggressively noted that Schiff acted as the individual who purposely initiated the societal storyline. Schiff represented the person resting upon the authoritative spy panel. Schiff represented the person holding the secret entry. Schiff represented the person who appeared upon broadcasts 53 times and built the crushing partisan force that forced the extremely expensive inquiry appear civically required for the populace. Lacking Schiff's 53 broadcast showings promoting ghost proof, the Mueller inquiry never occurs. It does not stretch out over 2.5 years, and it does not siphon 32 million bucks out of the reserve. Schiff forced it occur using his personal phrases, promoting proof that plainly did not breathe. The 300 liberal Manhattan females inside the crowd rested amazingly motionless. The storyline had foundationally changed. This acted no anymore a dull factional argument regarding DC maneuvers. It acted, currently instinctually concerning finances. It acted concerning the devastating truth regarding a 400-buck crisis. They deeply understood what this signified. Several of the females inside this exact space had experienced through this. Kennedy pivoted slightly to speak to Whoopi Goldberg. He desired to pose the crowd in inquiry. He desired the people inside the room, and the people viewing from residences inside the central regions, like Iowa, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, to comprehend precisely who covered the check regarding this 32 million bucks. Peering straight toward the lenses, Kennedy proclaimed that the laboring citizens funded for this from of their wages. Senator Schiff did not fund for this. The Russian state did not fund for this. Robert Mueller did not fund for this. The U.S. populace funded for this. Within the tertiary line of the broadcast crowd, a female gradually tipped her skull in grave approval. The television lenses captured the faint, impactful motion. Kennedy pivoted his sharp concentration again toward Schiff. He posed a ruthlessly basic inquiry. When did Schiff plan to hand the U.S. citizens their 32 million bucks again? Quiet consumed the room. Kennedy pushed stronger. He did not desire the total. He simply desired to understand whenever the cash might get returned. Might it arrive from of Schiff's $870,000 dwelling inside Maryland? From of the worth regarding his condo inside Burbank? Or maybe from of the profitable literature up front he acquired for authoring Lessons from the Brink? Kennedy insisted to understand precisely when the 80,000 moms who required to repair their ruined coolers were scheduled to notice their currency refunded. Schiff stayed entirely, completely quiet. At this precise second, the costly Mont Blanc pen eventually fell completely from of Schiff's shaking grasp. It plummeted. Jumping once upon the solid rounded desk, it tumbled 3 paces over the shiny timber. It plunged from the boundary of the desk and struck the room ground, causing a crisp, clear snap. It tumbled snap, snap, snap over the shiny timber ground. 3 paces, 4 paces, 5 paces. It eventually arrived to an absolute stop straight beneath Whoopi Goldberg's seat. Whoopi stared low toward the tool upon the ground. She stared again high toward Schiff. The lenses captured the anxious image. Displaying expert elegance, Whoopi folded low, grabbed the rogue Mont Blanc pen, and extended it over the massive desk, handing it again toward Schiff. Schiff extended away to take it. However, his palm was trembling very noticeably and fiercely, that he might not hold a grasp. He awkwardly held it between his thumb and pointer. However, failing to grip it stable, he just placed it away flat upon the desk ahead of him. He rapidly pulled his trembling palm, concealing it within his thighs, completely away from the sight regarding the sharp resolution lenses. The treasure tool rested forsaken upon the desk, completely away from his grasp. Kennedy did not stop to allow the pity sink. He dug within his satchel and revealed the quaternary file. This binder showed bright crimson. The sleeve plainly stated HRES 437 censure. Kennedy cautioned Schiff that upon the 21st of June 2023, the United States House of Representatives, via a strict tally of 213 against 209, formally reprimanded him. Schiff had rested inside the exact center regarding the chamber, while leader Kevin McCarthy recited the destructive decree loudly. Schiff became harshly scolded upon the lasting formal ledger regarding the United States Congress because of misleading the American public. Kennedy lifted up the actual decree text. He observed the historic weight Schiff acted merely the 25th representative regarding the House of Representatives to get reprimanded after the date 1789. Across 236 cycles regarding deep U.S. past, there existed merely 25 titles upon this registry of disgrace, plus Adam Schiff represented one among those. Kennedy stopped, allowing the past absorbed deeply. He next remembered that once the reprimand became spoken, Schiff strolled away toward his chair as Democrats applauded and shouted regarding him. Schiff grinned. Afterward, inside the corridor, Schiff talked toward the hungry journalists and boastfully proclaimed, "I will wear this as a badge of honor." Kennedy peered high from the text inside his palms. "A badge of honor," he echoed quietly, allowing the ridiculousness regarding the wording linger within the atmosphere. Kennedy next questioned Schiff whether he recognized what the additional 24 representatives upon this monumental registry had performed to acquire their reprimands. He flipped a sheet inside the crimson file. He recited the title regarding the 23rd individual upon the registry. Senator Joseph McCarthy, reprimanded upon the 2nd of December 1954 for terribly misusing his legislative advantages to create crazy, damaging charges regarding communist invasion, which he wholly might not verify. Kennedy peered straight across his wire-framed spectacles. He noted out that Joseph McCarthy became reprimanded because of creating crazy charges he might not verify. He next stared towards Schiff, declaring that Schiff became reprimanded because of the precise, identical, foundational cause. Precisely 69 cycles separated. The historic fellowship Schiff maintained, Kennedy proclaimed, acted none besides than Joseph McCarthy. This acted a brilliant spoken attack. Joy Behar had individually spoken the phrases McCarthy plus McCarthyism upon the View, basically 40 instances throughout her 5-year career, constantly using the phrase like a brutal assault toward traditional Republicans. Currently, Joy Behar became unexpectedly captivated with the base regarding her Java mug, failing to peer high. Yet Kennedy acted yet not finished concerning the Crimson File. He desired to debate one additional particular title upon this infamous reprimand registry, the 24th title. The individual whose title showed within pass, straight prior to Schiff's. He questioned Schiff whether he remembered whom this acted. Schiff softly whispered the title, Representative Paul Gosar. Kennedy verified this. Paul Gosar, a conservative out of Arizona, whom became reprimanded upon the 17th of November, 2021, because of publishing a drawing clip which the Democratic bulk denounced like a hazardous portrayal regarding brutality toward a peer, representative of Congress. Kennedy extracted a distinct page out of the binder, the formal congressional ledger out of this exact date during November 2021. He questioned Schiff whether he recalled precisely whom directed the intense room argument requesting Gosar's reprimand. Quiet. You performed, Senator. Kennedy replied regarding him. Kennedy recited Schiff's personal previous phrases backward toward him. Schiff had rested inside the center regarding the chamber, plus arrogantly proclaimed that Gosar's behavior disgraced the establishment, debating that they ought to keep all representatives responsible, irrespective regarding ideological faction. Since the absolute honor regarding the legislative group relied upon this, Kennedy placed the destructive page of parchment down. He presented out the devastating double standard. Schiff had passionately chosen for Gosar's reprimand, naming this a valiant protection regarding the chamber's honor. Still, a basic 19 cycles afterward, upon the 21st of June 2023, Schiff noticed himself resting inside the precise identical center regarding the chamber, receiving a reprimand out of the precise identical establishment, wholly reflecting the disgrace. The 25th title, straight beneath Gosar's. Identical registry. Identical center. Identical humiliation. The space containing 300 females acted like quiet, like a grave. Inside the 6th line, a female inside her starting 60s, showing silver locks tied away, plus displaying an aged I'm with her election badge, which she lacked the courage to detach for 9 cycles, released a gentle, clear "Oh." The costly Mont Blanc pen stayed frozen upon the rounded desk. Schiff's palms felt basically stuck toward his thighs. He executed zero effort to recover his honor, nor his tool. Kennedy ridiculed the notion regarding the badge of honor. Schiff received the identical scolding out of the identical establishment because of the identical type regarding radical behavior he had formerly denounced. Plus somehow crazily labeled this an award. Shutting the crimson file, Kennedy declared they were preparing to debate the last part regarding the mystery, the precise occurrence that truly placed Schiff's title upon this notorious reprimand registry during the initial spot. The terrible violation regarding procedure he executed upon the stage regarding the House of Representatives upon the 26th of September, 2019. Kennedy grabbed toward the concluding dark file. The sleeve showed completely blank. He did not unseal it instantly, allowing the fear grow. He arranged the stage, the 26th of September, 2019. The heavily awaited initial dawn regarding open tribunals ahead of the House Intelligence Panel concerning the massive removal probe regarding leader Donald J. Trump. Schiff acted the authoritative head, wielding the hammer. The nationwide broadcast lenses kept spinning, plus C-SPAN kept transmitting the monumental occurrence directly toward millions regarding U.S. citizens. Schiff might simply peer empty toward the timber texture regarding the desk. Kennedy detailed how Schiff started the tribunal using a heavily theatrical reading. Schiff asserted he acted officially, speaking inside the formal ledger, the destructive details regarding the voice chat, linking Leader Trump plus Leader Zelensky from Ukraine, the precise voice chat, which rested at the absolute core regarding the whole removal probe. Unsealing the dark file, Kennedy cautioned Schiff regarding precisely what he had spoken this date. Schiff had recited the document gradually plus using dramatic style. Schiff asserted the leader had spoken, "I have a favor I want from you, though, and am going to say this only 7 times, so you better listen good." Schiff asserted the leader ordered, "Make up dirt on my political opponent. Lots of it." Schiff asserted the leader warned, "Understand lots of it, on this and on that." Kennedy cautioned Schiff that he recited these horrifying phrases straight toward the U.S. populace, while serving like the formal head regarding an removal probe upon live broadcast. Kennedy next placed this sheet away, plus extracted out a secondary text. It acted the real confirmed document regarding the voice chat formally published via the White House upon the 25th of September 2019, the exact date prior to Schiff's dramatic tribunal. Kennedy noted out a blatant truth. The real document did not hold a lone item regarding the shocking quotes Schiff had recited. Kennedy recited the real document portion. The real text displayed the leader basically speaking, "I would like you to do us a favor, though." 8 basic phrases. The leader never spoke, make up dirt. The leader never spoke. I'm going to say this only 7 times. The leader never ordered lots of it. Kennedy placed away the absolute charge. You invented these phrases up, Senator. Kennedy declared that Schiff practically penned fake conversation, plus intentionally gave these false statements toward the U.S. populace beneath the guarding shield regarding legislative immunity. He performed this out of the tallest head's chair amidst a serious removal probe. The broadcast crowd regarding 300 Manhattan females acted wholly frozen. Several regarding these exact females had viewed this particular tribunal live upon broadcast. Several regarding them had definitely applauded regarding Schiff this evening, trusting he had eventually captured Trump totally guilty. Currently, they rested inside a broadcast space, viewing their personal ideological recollections, getting agonizingly remade via the harsh, solid reality during live action. Kennedy extracted a tertiary sheet out of the dark file. He cautioned Schiff that once angry conservatives challenged him merely hours following his fake reciting, Schiff frantically reversed. Kennedy recited Schiff's precise justification out of the legislative stage. It was meant to be, at least in part, a parody. Kennedy peered high inside complete shock. A parody. He allowed the ridiculous justification rest heavy inside the quiet space. Senator John Kennedy acted preparing to give the ultimate devastating strike, which might forever break Adam Schiff's legislative mask. Kennedy did not merely read the harsh truths he systematically outlined. The utter stunning scale regarding the legislative treason, which had recently become revealed ahead of the gasping broadcast crowd. The mood inside the space became incredibly dense while he presented away the unquestionable truth, the formal allegedly exact document regarding a massive risk foreign voice chat, a text which magically turned the complete foundational base regarding removing the current leader regarding the U.S., acted basically faked. Kennedy cautioned everybody regarding the shocking historic weight regarding this move. Throughout the whole centuries spanning past regarding the U.S. nation, there existed merely previously occurred 3 leader removals. It acted the highest legal tool, a profoundly grave procedure intended to stay kept solely regarding the highly terrible, unquestionable actions regarding betrayal nor major offenses. Still, this huge legal emergency, the massive legislative chaos regarding 2019, which ripped the country into parts, plus controlled all media loops regarding seasons without stop, acted totally triggered via whatever. The head himself subsequently relaxedly confessed, acted simply a parody. It acted invented fantasy. It acted a dramatic text fiercely plus intentionally recited direct inside the lasting formal historic ledger regarding the U.S. Congress. Like whether it acted total truth, resting simply paces far. Senator Adam Schiff appeared to bodily reduce inside the premium cloth regarding his dark 3-piece suit. The assured, refined vibe he had brought into the broadcast stage had totally vanished. He stuttered pitifully, his tone weak plus completely empty regarding its typical echoing power. He frantically tried to build a justification, reaching for spoken threads, attempting to debate toward the completely quiet space that his disputed reciting regarding the document acted distinctly, plus plainly shaped like legislative discussion. He attempted to cast the picture regarding a misread leader using standard speech tactics. However, the phrases fell out clumsily, missing all hint regarding belief. Kennedy, though, did not allow the feeble justification linger inside the atmosphere regarding above than a piece regarding a moment. He wholly destroyed Schiff's pitiful excuse, using the destructive accuracy regarding a practice court attorney whom held the triumphant hands. Bending a head softly, Kennedy created a bright image regarding truth. He declared, his heavy Louisiana accent ringing using absolute sureness, that the millions regarding regular U.S. citizens resting inside their lounging areas, viewing C-SPAN upon this monumental September dawn, held literally zero thought. They acted meant to be viewing a funny parody. Schiff never initially peered inside the lens, plus declared it like a gag. He never provided a spoken warning. Rather, he recited the faked conversation using the highest scary gravity, displaying his personal imaginative crafting, like whether it acted the genuine confirmed details regarding an actual intensely restricted plus deeply crooked voice chat. Kennedy's tone stiffened, while he struck firmly the absolute breach. Schiff had purposely abused the holy power regarding the head's chair. He had intentionally mistreated the grave honor regarding the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, concealing fearfully back the unbreakable armor regarding legislative immunity merely to give amazingly destructive false statements. Plus, He performed every regarding this merely to start an intensely factional removal procedure. An amazing legislative carnival, which eventually charged the laboring U.S. citizens an amazing $27 million. While the crowd suspended upon his all sounds, Kennedy gradually extended low, plus extracted the last sheet out of the bottoms regarding the dark file. He carefully linked the leftover marks, tracing a direct, unavoidable path from the trickery regarding 2019 toward the absolute humiliation regarding 2023. Lifting the text high, he declared that the 2023 formal reprimand decree, the absolute identical part regarding historic law, which had forever carved Adam Schiff's title inside the shadowy records regarding U.S., passed perfectly next to the humiliated Joseph McCarthy plus Paul Gosar, did not occur inside an emptiness. This text, Kennedy showed exactly, plus clearly, referenced this notorious September 2019 parody document like one regarding the four main unquestionable causes regarding his formal legislative humiliation. Kennedy forced it ruthlessly. Plain Schiff's extended range. Historic heritage might not become judged via his arrogant assertions regarding protecting liberty. Rather, his heritage became permanently sealed via the undeniable truth that he penned false conversation, displayed it like truth, plus armed it to remove a current leader, whilst the live broadcast lenses kept spinning. Once the destructive schedule totally built, Kennedy gradually purposely shut the weighty dark file. The dense skin sleeve produced a flat absolute boom toward the rounded timber desk. Pivoting his focus far off the shattered guy next to him, Kennedy peered straight away inside the ocean regarding 300 liberal Manhattan females. He questioned the people inside the space, plus the millions viewing from residence, to gravely, intensely consider regarding a lone deep inquiry. His tone acted peaceful, chatting, still sharply piercing. "What does the nation label a guy?" Kennedy questioned, dividing away all distinct phrase regarding highest effect, whom purposely pens false conversation, plus displays it like the genuine exact phrases regarding the leader, regarding the U.S., inside a formal vowed legislative action merely to intentionally start the removal, regarding this exact leader? Kennedy stopped. It acted not a short mistaken delay. It acted an intensely planned, painful hold regarding moments, crafted via an expert, regarding the legal hall, to boost the crushing pressure inside the space. He permitted the dense mental heaviness regarding his inquiry to sear intensely inside the thoughts regarding all solitary individual hearing inside this room, plus across the country. Ultimately, he shattered the crushing quiet. "Inside Louisiana, we hold a term regarding this," he declared fluidly. "It carries precisely two vocal sounds, begins using an F." This moment, the highly noisy broadcast crowd did not speak alone noise. There existed completely zero anxious giggling, zero courteous grins, plus zero dramatic breaths regarding faked anger, which normally mark daytime broadcast. They wholly, totally, plus agonizingly comprehended precisely what he intended. The unsaid charge lingered densely inside the clean, harshly glowing room atmosphere like an iron block. Inside the starting lines, multiple liberal females whom had rested inside queue from mourning bodily lifted shaking palms to conceal their lips inside sheer, raw horror. Their gazes became massive, while they absorbed the unquestionable truth regarding the trickery systematically presented naked ahead of them. Toward Whoopi Goldberg's left, Joy Behar, the heavily factional partner whom had fiercely plus absolutely guarded all solitary viewing regarding Adam Schiff's broadcast showings across 6 extended cycles, looked totally shattered via the exposure. She might simply peer empty. Her mouth clamped amazingly tense toward the massive advertising picture regarding Schiff yet shining intensely upon the massive electronic screen back the rounded desk. Ignoring the real physical shift resting simply paces far off her, she strongly declined to rotate her skull to gaze toward the guy. The mental clash regarding the horrifying second acted merely overly crushing to handle upon live broadcast. Concurrently, the premium Mont Blanc pen, the absolute glowing badge regarding Schiff's previous unbreakable assurance, his premium standing, plus his legislative might, stayed totally lifeless, plus forsaken upon the shiny timber top regarding the desk. Schiff acted giving totally zero effort to extend far plus grab it high, his palms concealed out inside total failure. While the broadcast portion's finishing seconds quickly neared, Kennedy understood precisely the way to forever lock this unmatched monumental triumph. Opposing a beaten guy getting ready to run. He did not rapidly stow his files away to conceal the proof. He did not clean away his area to soothe the heavy pressure inside the space. Rather, he purposely plus systematically kept his weapons scattered away inside a clean, unquestionable line over the rounded desk. The tan file, the azure file, the emerald file, the crimson file, plus the dark file. Each regarding these acted placed completely unsealed. Their destructive marked texts acted flawlessly, plus plainly seen toward the panning sharp resolution broadcast lenses, guaranteeing zero individual might previously reject whatever had recently occurred. Having his undeniable proof bravely shown, Kennedy peacefully proclaimed toward the shocked team that he acted planning to pose Senator Schiff 3 amazingly basic, direct, affirmative or negative inquiries, he proclaimed using a tone packed, regarding deep, true admiration, regarding the laboring group, that the U.S. populace, the people resting inside the broadcast crowd, plus the numerous watchers viewing from residence, each completely earned direct, raw responses following surviving seasons. Regarding tricky legislative drama, the total weight regarding Kennedy's order totally froze the normally loud desk. Whoopi Goldberg, iconic regarding her rapid interjections plus heated replies, did not risk halting him. Next to her, Sunny Hostin, the brilliantly quick previous national attorney, whom had constructed a whole profession upon brutal questionings, rested completely frozen inside her seat, quietly identifying a perfect, unavoidable questioning once she viewed one. Did Senator Kennedy just deliver the most devastating political takedown in daytime TV history? Or did Adam Schiff's own record finally catch up with him? Has the American public reached a breaking point with political theater masquerading as truth? Drop your verdict in the comments below. Share this incredible moment to expose the receipts, and subscribe before the algorithm takes this down.